Hey everyone, my name is Matt. Welcome to my backyard. Today is July 19th and it's my weekly shop update. So the biggest thing this week is also the tallest thing. It is the sawmill. So I just finished up all of the work to do the linking mechanism up top for the lift. So the lift is back to being operational again and also improved and properly done because now the chain is out of the way, and as you can see, the motor can pass through the top of the carriage, bringing that saw head up to its maximum height, which is it's pretty high. It's like 5 feet off the bed or something like that. So you could probably get a pretty good log under here. You know, that's 7 feet to the top of this, so you get, you know, 6.5 feet or so, like you're supposed to, under the head, which is quite a big log. So last week I had just finished up the linking mechanism parts, and you can see those guys up there. They bring the chain out to the outside corners, and this one over here activates that tensioning system so that you can actually tension the chain, which is much better than what I had before, which was a block of steel or a tube steel with this idler sprocket on it that I pushed into the chain and clamped to the carriage. And that's how it was for every single cutting video that you've seen me do with that temporary setup with the linking chain. So from this angle, you can really see how the motor can actually pass up through here. So the chain used to go right directly over top of it, which meant the motor can only come up so high. So the maximum saw height, or the maximum height off the bed you could cut, was 43 inches, and now it's up all the way. So the chain is on the outside over here and on the inside, so the motor can get past that chain. And that's the maximum height there, and that saw head is pretty high up there. I think the craziest part about this is I had never seen this thing raised to its full height before yesterday, and when it got up there, I was like, that is pretty high, like pretty darn high. And at this point, now that the mechanism's done, I can bring the saw head back down, put the wheels and the guards back on, and this thing is actually ready to cut. Although I do have to add the lubrication system still, but I might be torn towards cutting some logs first before doing that. We'll see. I don't really have a whole lot more desire to keep making stuff on the mill. I kind of want to get these logs in my driveway cut. So there's a couple of things going on in the shop I wanted to share. First off, the lumber for the sideboard is mostly all broken down. I have the preliminary parts all ready to go, so I can start working on that. So I have those crotch sections cut up into the blanks that'll become all of the panels for the entire case. I also have all of the frame and panel stuff. So the frame stuff, these are the panels. The frame stuff is all here. This all got resung out of 8/4, so I have a whole bunch of those. So something I'm really excited about is the front face of the sideboard, and there's a lot of really interesting details going on, or will be going on there. So of course the double crotch panels, those will be for the 4 doors, and then for the drawers above that I have this piece of walnut with the really nice little sapwood streak that's going to go along in there. And what's cool about this is because this board was kind of curvy through here, you can see the grain went down like that. There's sapwoods on one side, on one end, and it's going to come in on the other side down here, and the grain's going to swoop up into this drawer front. So there's going to be some really interesting things going on with the drawer front. Down here on the lower apron, that one's going to have a curve in it. So I have this curved piece of walnut, and that's going to follow the curve nicely, I think. There's a little bit of crotch figure down on that end, so that's going to tie in nicely to the panels. And just overall, I think it's going to tie everything together pretty nicely with that grain following that curve. So looking forward to seeing how this kind of all comes together. So one thing I'm particularly excited about that's not all that exciting is my hardware storage area. My kids kind of motivated me to get this kind of resolved. For the longest time I've had these little drawer bin things which aren't that effective, and I've had like the containers that the piece of the hardware came in, little pack like these. I've had like a lot of these little things laying around in here, up in there, and it's just been overflowing and just ridiculous. So my boys came out here and they literally dumped out everything that were in all these bins onto the floor, and I had a big pile of hardware to kind of deal with, and that kind of motivated me to actually come up with a decent solution. So I got these bins at Harbor Freight. I know What's funny about these things is I've seen so many people use these things. I never realized, I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but the tubs in here, they actually come out and you can take them to wherever you want to go. I don't know why I didn't realize that, but this is a much better solution for all the hardware. So I got a bunch of these tub bin things. They're all kind of like the same size, so it's fairly modular. So the two small ones are the same size as one of the bigger ones, and they also have a deep one as well. So I have all of my hardware now in these little tubs, and I can store these over in my outfeed table in that open shelf, and I don't have to worry about stupid little bin drawer things anymore. And it also kind of made me go through the stuff and just throw away a lot of the hardware that I'm never going to use, or like the rusty nails that I pulled out of a pallet like 8 years ago because I thought I might need some nails. Like, I can go buy nails if I need nails. But that's about all that's going on in my shop this week. Let's take a look at some viewer projects. First this week is a desk by Chris. This was his first commission piece and his first time milling his own lumber. It's made from black walnut and custom fabricated legs made of aluminum. The carcass is a mitered panel construction and is finished with armor seal gloss. Next is a live edge bench by Tim. This bench was made from the first log that Tim had ever milled with his chainsaw mill. He used epoxy to stabilize any voids and cracks, except for a large crack on one end where he used 2 black walnut bow ties that also came from a log that he had milled. One leg is joined with some large hand-cut dovetails, and on the other leg he decided to do a double Morrison tenon. Next this week is a bed by Matt. It's a king-size bed and it's made from walnut that sat in a barn for about 30 years. The rails are live edge and the panels are floating with Morrison tenon joinery, and the whole thing is finished with armor seal. Last this week is the Octave Mandolin by Tomy. The Octave Mandolin was a commission build and the customer was very specific on what he wanted. Tomy built the mandolin over about 1.5 years and he has a whole bunch of videos over on his channel that walk you through the entire process. Tomy also has a great overview video, so if you just want to see the highlights of how this thing came together, definitely going to want to check that out. I'll have a link to that up in the cards and down in the description. Tomy is a great guy and he produces some really amazing work, as you could probably tell, so definitely check him out. So I also shot a video on machine maintenance last week, so I went over some maintenance on the jointure, the planer, the bandsaw, and the table saw, and that video will be out this weekend. I've had a lot of questions over the years about like doing stuff and maintaining the stuff on the machines, so hopefully I answered some questions and all of that. But that's all I have for this week. Thank you as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments about anything I talked today or anything here in my shop, please feel free to leave me a comment, as I'll be happy to answer your questions you might have. And until next time, happy woodworking.